Kiwis love being outdoors, so why not transform your outdoor living space with a sun view? With our quality range of stylish pergolas, outdoor blinds and awnings, having a sun view is like adding a new room to your home, but for a fraction of the price. Enjoy the outdoors all year round with a range of products to suit your needs. Book a free consultation now with SunView and see the difference.
For tourists to come to our beautiful country, they pay an international visitor levy that rose last year from $35 to $100. Some went, oh, that's so much. But people have been paying it since last October. Now, if they wish to visit a handful of our most popular destinations while they're here, potentially that could cost them as well. The Prime Minister has announced a new fee for foreign visitors at high-volume tourist sites of between $20 to $40. Christopher Luxon says initially they're looking at 4 locations: Cathedral Cove, which is in the Thames Coromandel district, Tongariro Crossing, lovely Ruapehu district, the Old Milford Track, of course, Fiordland, Southern Regions, and Mount Cook, Mackenzie district. The government estimates it could bring in about $62 million a year in revenue to be reinvested in those same areas. New Zealanders would not be charged, with Luxon saying it's our collective inheritance and Kiwis shouldn't have to pay to see it. But it's unlikely to stop there. It's understood the government is looking to potentially roll out fees on about 10 high-volume visitor sites at this stage. We don't know what those other ones are. Ruapehu District Mayor Weston Kirton supports the proposed visitor levy for the Tongariro Crossing, saying it's a fair way to fund the upkeep of local infrastructure, which is heavily used by overseas tourists. And he joins me now. Wes, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Lovely to talk to you again. This idea has been talked about for years, Weston, as you may know. Many governments have backed away because it's quite tricky to enforce. But what kind of pressure does the Tongariro Crossing put on local infrastructure, especially during peak season?
Well, thank you for having me on. And yes, it is a big issue for our communities around the central North Island. And of course, we have 100,000 per annum come through the Tongariro Crossing alone. So wow. It's a big attraction for, both domestic and international numbers. That what we do find is there's a lot of congestion in the area of the Tongariro Crossing. We know that puts pressure on the likes of toilets and the rubbish that's left behind, and because safety is a big issue, and the physical presence of that number on there at any one time. So we do have issues around that, and this is this levy that's been talked about for a number of years. Of course, there is 2 parts to it. One is, of course, that there's been cuts with Department of Conservation, and we know that every department in the country have been affected by that. But we just hope that this levy isn't going to just supplement that loss that has taken place. I'm probably being a little bit cynical there, but I think it's only fair to say that this is a international situation whereby many of the countries have this sort of levy in place anyway in their national parks throughout the world, so it's not new to the tourists. So they, like anyone thinking they'll come to this country and get a free lunch in this area, they'll probably be dreaming, because it just doesn't happen that way around the world.
Tell them they're dreaming, Wes.
Yes, well, I just think that it's timely that we're talking about this to actually increase a number of aspects to the mountain in our case. I can't speak for the other districts, but, we have safety issues. People need to be rescued from time to time on the mountain. That is a cost to the country. We have other issues around, as I said earlier, about, servicing toilets, for example, when you have a huge number of people there. And there's, support for the walkers that do go across the Tongariro Crossing. So you need extra staff, you need signage, better signage, you need support in various shape or form. So there are some positive aspects to it in terms of, money being channeled or reinvested into this area. But there are downsides as well, and we just hope that we get our share of the funding that reflects the needs for our infrastructure and also other things that matter.
Yes, because you have stressed that the funds should be allocated based on visitor numbers rather than population. I mean, how important is that for places like
Oh,
Ruapehu?
Absolutely. We have a small population base of 13,500 people. We have a huge area, a lot of dock estates. Something like 60% of our area of our community in the Ruapehu is actually dockland. So it's unrateable. So we have that issue of, the rating base. So any infrastructure that we put in place for the benefit of the general public comes in the back of, local people having to fund that. And that's a concern to us. And, of course, keeping the rates down is a big issue for our communities, of course. But we do relish the opportunity of having international visitors and domestic to our community. We have about 1.5 million visitors come into our area for various reasons. So we step up when it comes to, providing the infrastructure and making sure that these people have a wonderful experience when they do come.
Because there could be a risk maybe that the levy money could be tied up in, say, I don't know, red tape, bureaucracy, whatever you want to call it, instead of going where it's needed, because that is something that, as you said, you've got 13,500 population, but you've got 1.5 million people coming and over 100,000 doing the crossing. So you want that money to go there and not be kind of spread thin.
Absolutely, yes. That's what our council will be doing, is writing to the Minister of Tourism saying that we need to have, some money on a regular basis, not a regular basis, on an annual basis that reflects, what it is that we need to provide and to the standard that the expectation of overseas people particularly need to come into our country. And so I think the government need to recognise that, give a direct link to the council in terms of funding, and Department of Conservation play an important part, of course. They need to be resourced, obviously, but I think if it's based on the numbers of visitors that come into an area, rather than actually, just say, oh, that's a small district with only 13,000 population, is not fair for the people to do the heavy lifting.
Yeah, because what would any extra visitor levy money, where would it go? You talked about, the toilets and the bins, and what's kind of crying out for some money at the moment?
Pretty
much
we've got
everything.
visitors. Well, I think it's just the marketing. I think everyone recognises that marketing, everyone's sort of competing, if you like, around the country for their district to be recognised, and I think marketing is big. So we got Visit Ruapehu, for example. We as a council fund that to the extent of about 600,000. That's not enough really to attract, the number. Well, not so much the numbers, but marketing is expensive, and you've got to sort of make sure you're competing with the rest of the country. So marketing is big for us, and we need to promote the area, not only for, tourism, but for industry as well. But having said that, I think that, it's fair to say that we need public toilets, for example. We need shelters. We need, park and rides. We need to have sort of, good facilities throughout our communities. And we just need to have, make sure that when people come into an area, they feel welcomed, and also the fact that they can be safe. And so we just make sure that, we're up with the play in terms of, our infrastructure. And to do that is usually falls back on a small rating base.
Wes, it might be a little bit of an unfair question because, they only announced it over the weekend, the government did, and so you probably have, no idea yet what the fine print says. But in your experience, how much do you think the levy charges for the Tongariro Crossing would go to local iwi? Is that going to be something they're going to want part of?
I think so. You will find that they play an important part in any national park that we have in this area. And, of course, for good reason, they need to be respected and also acknowledged, and to do that.
What do they do, Weston? I'm not being rude, but what do they do?
Oh, they have facilities available. Like we do have tours, for example. The local iwi provide a lot of entertainment in many cases. But the fact that they are important part of our community, it needs to be respected. And there's a sense of ownership as well. So iwi, they play an important part in terms of consents and the like. So they need to be recognised in that respect. But they're very well respected in our community, and they need to be also, from the tourist point of view, it needs to be understood that they're important part of our community, and to do that, they need to be engaged with the tourism side of it, and so we make sure that they're up front when it comes to any entertainment, if not tours or any other part. And they are now becoming important operators in the area of tourism, and so they need to be supported as well.
Do they invest, Wes? Do they invest
Absolutely.
their money?
Kiwis love being outdoors, so why not transform your outdoor living space with a sun view? With our quality range of stylish pergolas, outdoor blinds and awnings, having a sun view is like adding a new room to your home, but for a fraction of the price. Enjoy the outdoors all year round with a range of products to suit your needs. Book a free consultation now with Sunview and see the difference.